That's good.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna be on the top.
Don't worry about it. I got a new lick for you when you get down here, baby. Yeah, I got a new lick for you. Here go your brother. Let me get back with this show, baby. Love you. Be safe and get home.
I love you too, homie.
All right.
Oh, my goodness, baby.
So John, you know,
Yes.
like I said, this right here is our era.
Yes.
You know, and
It's our time.
there's no way in the world that we're gonna forfeit it to nobody. And we have all the stories to tell. And yes, John, I'll be honest with you. It's a book called L.A. Chronicle, The Rise and the Fall of the East Side, of the Low Bottoms that's coming out on May 2nd.
Wow.
You know, we just been holding it back
Yeah.
because so many people talk about it. But like I told you the other day, it don't go in the 80s.
No,
It
correct.
go in the 70s with the heroin and the jewelry robbery and the water and the weed. And when you read it, you're going to think that you're in the 80s and the 90s because we have boxes and boxes of cash. And they talk about Wizard, Renee McGowan.
yes.
You know, it's
Kenny.
they talk about those boys, man. They talk about Tootie. They talk about Jap. They talk about Cuz. They talk about Bill Jones. They talk about those dudes who really groomed me to be what I am today. And they told me in the past, like, if you take care of your people will take care of you.
That's the truth.
So here I am making my business. Like John told me that this right here is going down. When I first came home, he walked in and said, "Hey, Whitey, come and meet me over here." And I came because I knew I was obligated by law, my law, the law that I live under, because I am a player. There's no doubt about it. And however they want to picture me, they can picture me. But when a player called me and say, "Stop by and let me holler," I'm gonna stop by and listen to what you got to say. So again, I thank you for giving me an opportunity just to understand how the industry went.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, my brother?
So Tiffany,
Yes.
so here we are. You know, it's like I need you to finish what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you haven't started, you need to start it.
Oh, yeah.
You need to put your scripts together. So don't be mad. It's okay
Yeah.
for people to have
You right.
have a misunderstanding about themselves.
Exactly.
You know, it's
Exactly.
okay for you to say, I'm playing in the game of chance.
Exactly.
And life is a chance.
All the time, and I'm willing to take those chances. I just have to get better, and I'm better, and I'm in a good space, in a good place. So I'm pushing forward
You
with
know,
that.
That's all to it. As long as you feeling yourself
Exactly.
and you taking care of yourself and
Yeah.
you well,
Yeah.
ain't nothing supposed to stop you from going to the
You
top.
know, that happiness starts right here, though.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody else make me happy. I got to be happy with me, so I had to find that again, and I'm good, so now I'm pushing. So it'll be good, and it's going to be better. It's going to probably supersede my thoughts because I'm not doing it for monetary reasons. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it, and I was blessed. The guy was just kind of in my hand.
Oh, yes.
You know, and like you said, I've been sitting on them. But y'all follow my YouTube page too. Follow my Instagram handles as well. We'll be on here talking about this at Excel at Radio. You know, more interesting stories coming soon. They're doing big things over here. You see what's happening.
You know, this a function of Whitey's Enterprise at its finest. Everybody
I'm
say,
still waiting
Whitey,
for my jacket.
you're
No.
still arrogant. Whitey, why you so arrogant? You just came home, you don't have no money, and you on YouTube, you on Instagram, you everywhere, and you talking about just popping or golden birds in Vegas, and just cracking in Vegas, and you talk all of this stuff, but you don't have no paper. And I look at the world like I don't need no paper. I got a whole lot of talents.
Right.
With this talent that I have, I can do anything and everything that I want to do because
Right.
I am Whitey. I am the boss of LA for real. You know, it's hard to follow my lead, and a whole lot of people been acting like they know how to follow it, but they've been running through some roadblocks because they telling stories that ain't really sufficient for the 80s. You know, not from the 80s. This Whitey
He was
in the 80s.
Instagram of the 80s.
You know, so-
That's all I got to say. He was the brand. I can't even explain what I said. I already
Hey.
said it. I've already said
This
it.
John Boy's book, The Rolling 80s. If you want to pick up this book, go to www. Whitey's Enterprise. You know, go to www. Whitey's Enterprise and pick this book up. It's right here. It's cool. It's about the 80s. It's about the rolling 80s. And you get an opportunity of a lifetime
Take you
to
back.
have this book. It'll take you down an avenue that you never traveled before in your life. It'll tell you some stories about John Boy that you will say, wow, he did that. yes, he did this and he did that and he did a whole lot of other things. And he justifying it today by saying that if you want to hear the story, get in line and stand in line, listen good, because you're going to be overwhelmed with the opportunity to hear from a real giant. So I'm going to bring John Boy back on real quick and let him tell me something else about himself before we leave.
Well, what would you like to know, sir?
I want to know, where's your next adventure after this?
Well, once I get this up and running, you know, we go back to me and my brothers used to dance. Robot dance.
The Robot Brothers.
The Robot Brothers, the Dog Show, and Soul Train, and Johnny Carson Show. Anyway, I got some producers. They have taken my life story with me and my two brothers and gonna put together an animation called the Robot Brothers Superheroes.
Okay.
So our gloves would be able to bend bars, our glass would be able to see through buildings,
Nice.
and our hats would flatten it and throw it, and our suspenders we could tie people up, you know, as crime fighters. But just like the Jacksons, every episode we'd be able to do a dance step to teach kids how to dance at the same time. But while we dancing, we always watching the crime. But the guy just broke in somebody's car, and so we would go and take off.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're working on that, and then
Say, whatever you did in the past, you almost corrected it, but you got to do a little bit more. And all you can do is smile, saying, thanks for the challenge. Because you know, this is the game, the chance of life. And all of us need a chance to do something over and put a new stamp on our name. And the positions that we take sometimes is overwhelming. And the people who try to live up to expectations sometimes drown. But here we are again in Inglewood. And I'm from the Green Believers. I do technical assistance. I do social equity. And there's a whole lot of you guys need license. And you still got to come to see me. I'm at 3224 South Central Avenue or 3320 South Central Avenue. And the Green Believers is headquartered there at Cheryl Branch. So when you find yourself needing DCR and DCR send you guys our way, don't hesitate, not 1 second. Just come by and we got you. There's no doubt about it in my mind, we have you. So today I'm gonna welcome some of my people. Tiffany Dixon, I'm gonna welcome her.
Hello.
Ira Tillman, I'm gonna welcome him.
It's a pleasure to be here today, and man, you got some heavy hitters here, and I can't wait for the conversation to get started.
And most definitely, I'm gonna welcome John Boy, because through our lifetime, we've been through a hell of a journey. So
Yeah.
welcome here, John Boy.
thank you very much for having me.
Okay. So now, I'm gonna just go at it now. You know, I already welcomed Tiffany, and me and her been around the corner a few times. I done seen her get married several different times, and I done got accused of just looking at her and said she was my wife, and I'm like, nah, I couldn't be. I just been knowing her all my life. So I'm gonna introduce you guys to Whitney Houston, hairdresser.
Hello.
Here goes
Hi
Tiffany.
there. How are you? Thank you for welcoming me on your show. I've been trying to get out and get into accelerated radio and find out exactly what you guys are doing over here. And this is my first time being around this group of people in a long time. We all have a story to tell, and I'm just thankful that you thought about me enough to just bring me out so that we could just bring up the conversations about, we do all have a story to tell. I'm thankful for all the journeys. I have no regrets.
Well, welcome
And
to
that's,
the
one thing for sure. To clear the air, this is like my brother right here. We've been knowing each other for a very long time. So I do understand that this world is generating off of social media, and that's what he's into now. And he's helping build platforms for himself as well as other people. But I want to remind people that what I do know about him is before any of this social media, Facebook, Instagram, anything that we're dealing with digitally now, this man had the marketing and branding skills in the 80s then, because if you guys remember, not only back then was he able to have people, a community of people, or lead a community of people there was also a brand then, and there was no Instagram. It was just by respect, and I'll just I'll leave it right there. I'll leave it right there. But yeah, so I'm Tiffany Dixon. I'm a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist in the business for over 25 years. I've touched some of the world's most popular people. As I don't like to be called a celebrity because, you know, I'm just humble in my stance. I'm a professional. I'm good at what I do. I'll say that. I'm a star stylist. I'll say that. And I was blessed to work with Whitney Houston the last 7 years of her life. And I got a chance to, like most clients that I have, find out who the woman she was, opposed to the music of the 19 accolades that we all bullet point know. You know, the dress, Bobby Brown, the drugs, you know, whatever, Mariah Carey, just the 17 things that you guys already know. There's more to it. There's more to the story. There's more magic to the woman she was. And I got a chance to meet that lady. So I'm in the process of writing my story. I'm in the process of telling my story and bringing it hopefully to a larger screen. I was just on Lifetime on February the 6th to tell part of the story of, you know, or being able to tell the part of the story or how I'm related to the part of the story, because if no one knows, unfortunately I found Whitney in the bathroom, and that was my friend. So for me to come out and just, you know, capitalize or monetize off of her name in any kind of way was not my intent in any kind of way. So here we are 10 years later. I've been through, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome. I've been through depression. I've been through, I mean, you name it. You find your friend there. I don't care who it is. I don't care what their name is. It doesn't matter. You know, that it's hard to process. But I've processed well. I'll say that to say that now, next year, 10 years, her tribute to her demise, I will tell a tribute of the magic of her soul. I was blessed to tell the story. I feel blessed to tell the story and anointed to just bring a better light to the woman she was opposed to what she did. Because the drugs is what she did. That wasn't who she was. You know, the music is what she did. It still wasn't who she was. So I got to meet her, and I'm glad that I did, because I got a 7-star journey for the last 7 years of her life. It was like a 7-year blessing. So she left me with an amazing story, and I'm better. I'm physically, spiritually better to be able to tell a better story. So you can check out Lifetime. Check me out on Bobby Christina, what is it? Whitney Houston, Bobby Christina. I Want to Dance with Somebody. And it'll tell you a little bit of the story, and you'll get a better idea of what's to come, I'll say.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah. But, you know, a whole lot of people, they say, Whitey, what are you doing? And I tell them I'm not doing anything. I'm just playing the game. The greatest show wins.
That
and
part.
You have to remember that.
That part.
So the challenge that you have right now,
yes,
you just don't want to do it yet. And you got to challenge yourself now to dig a little deeper and find it in yourself to grab you another team and put them together and tell that other story that would make magic to the screen.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And it took a process. It's been a process for me to be able to just come and just talk to you guys with such strength. You know what I'm saying? Without having to, I've been having to disband certain things, and, you know, disband things about her death, you know what I mean, and things about what happened that day, and you know what I mean. I have told the story. I've told my truth. I'll continue to tell my truth about the story. And, you know, I've had to go, you know, the fan base is really cruel. They can be cruel, but I'm stronger. So like I said, I'm able to talk about it more.
That means you're on to something. Anytime you have detractors, that means
right.
You're climbing
right.
a certain
exactly.
part of that hill.
Right. So I've had to just, you know, go back and say, hey, you know, the truth is what it is. You know, the truth is what it is.
So, you know, let me say this right here.
Okay.
When I came home, one of my guys said, you seen Tiff? I said, nah, I haven't seen Tiff. I said, but Tiff is a big girl. She can handle herself because she done been through so much. I've been knowing her since she was like 17. And through those years, it made me understand who she was and what she capable of doing. So sometimes somebody say, why you talk to Tiff? I said, I talk to Tiff because sometimes Tiff needs a friend. That's all, just a friend to listen to her when she needed the most.
Right.
And today, it's the same way. When she need a helping hand just to move past a little junction, I'm there just to like nudge her, like, hey, they put you on the spot.
Right.
So now it's time for you to show out. Because when you show off, you're going to get paid for telling the truth, because a whole lot of people is making things up that they don't know nothing about.
Exactly.
So your lifestyle is your lifestyle, and always straighten it out so everybody can understand that you was there for another reason.
Exactly.
A tender friendship that glided you for years and years. When no one knew who Tiffany was, Whitney Houston picked up the phone and said, hey, I need you.
Sure
You
did.
didn't call Whitney and say, I need you, Whitney. She called you,
She
vice
sure
versa.
did. She sure
and when
did.
it's vice versa like that, Tiff, you're supposed to take those stories, compound them, and then put them out piece by piece so they can understand who the real Whitney Houston was.
Absolutely.
And who Tiffany Dixon is.
Absolutely.
Right today. And she always been the same strong person. And I'm sitting on the side of her telling her, go for it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like you said, it's unfortunate that she passed, her daughter passed the same way. The young guy that found his daughter, her daughter, he passed in the bathroom, and then the boyfriend passed just this past year, like New Year's Eve. So all four of them are gone. You know what I mean? So all four people are gone. So, you know, it becomes kind of eerie, you know what I mean, about what has really transpired, what has really happened. I didn't really want to become a forensic scientist because I was so hurt.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And as I've gotten stronger, you know, you listen to the stories and you listen to what people are saying, and then you kind of calculate where you've been with it and, you know, what you know. And like you said, let your truth be your truth. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing. I'm strong enough now, like you said. People will come at you left, and I have to be able to understand what's happening so that I don't lash at them. It's not a lash, because that's emotion, and I'm not working from emotion. I'm working from passion to do with the story, to tell you the truth about what happened.
Okay, that sounds
And
good.
my truth.
So now, Tip, I got to go away from you for a second.
Okay.
Ira,
Yes.
you know, it's been a journey. You know, we've been on the journey together. And as this journey is going on, you taking new steps. Tyler Perry want to holler at you. He want to see what's really going on. And here I am sitting here laughing about it because I have no idea what's really going on. But I know you got this old smile on your face saying, Whitey, I done met another hurdle. And it's the books that I'm writing and the stories I'm telling is captivating other people. And now the conversations we've been having, you're just looking at me, I'm about the next move. And I'm telling you, nah, the next 10 moves is getting ready to put down because we in the game now.
Exactly.
So there's no way they can stop you from doing what you're doing. And you got a new book, what is it?
Well, I have of course, one I'm working on, which is, last time I was on your show, I explained to you that I was doing the biography of Hugh Jackson, the NFL coach, coach of the Raiders and coach of the Cleveland Browns. And it's since then the story's evolved into social activism, Black Lives Matter, and I want to say the current situation in the NFL where blacks aren't being considered for certain jobs. You realize in the last 2 years they had 8 coaching openings last year and another 6 this year, and they hired one black, one African American for the Houston Texans, and he was never pre-qualified as a offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. He's been in the league a while. He's been around NFL programs a while, but it tells me that, for lack of a better phrase, they found somebody safe for that organization. In other words, they're going to delegate. He's going to delegate offense and defense and special teams to 3 different coaches and kind of be the face of the franchise, the black face that America was clamoring for. They kind of quelled the crowd. That's what the NFL does. And writing Hugh Jackson's story made me realize this has been going on over 100 years. Over 101 years of the NFL, they've tightly controlled the influence of the African American in how they run their business. They couldn't help but get past the athleticism. And of course, we broke through in 1949. The first African American to play football in the NFL was 1949. So then that started, of course, an avalanche and a sea change of color in the NFL. During this writing of Hugh Jackson's story, it's ridiculously simple just to lay it out and see that they have a policy, and it has to be between the 31 owners. Now, there's 32 football teams, but there's only 31 owners, and that's because the Green Bay Packers is owned
by the public.
Yeah. It has to be a conclusive policy that we're going to let African Americans or minorities just get to or raise to a certain level and control that from that point on. And that's where head coaching starts. Head coaching is the bottom of that rung. Team presidents, general managers, all that is strictly controlled racially. And it was like a V8 moment when I laid it all out and saw the evidence. I said, this has to be something that's in policy starting back in 1920 when the original 8 teams got together. But you got to have proof of that. Well, the proof is in the pudding when you lay it all out. It's right there. This has to be a policy, and it has to be something discussed amongst 31. And without that hire in Texas this year, we would have had 14 head coaching jobs come open in the last 2 years, and no blacks being considered for the head coaching job.
I hear you, brother. Now,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try this for you. I did a little research, not that much, because I don't do that. Sometimes they get me off balance when I try to figure out what research is, and what hustling is, and what manipulating the words mean. But at the end of the day, it's $1.9 trillion in the NFL.
Mm.
We're talking about $1.9 trillion amongst 32 owners.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to understand, most of the people in Milwaukee is white.
Right.
So they own the football league.
Right.
So the question is, would you let a black man run your organization? No.
No.
Because it's $1.some trillion.
Right.
So here we are, we're sitting back and we arguing a point, but we don't have no skin in the game. Only thing we got in the game is the talent.
Talent.
And the talent pool that we use, if you paid attention, each year they parade the dudes in a camp, just like they old slaves.
Right.
Put them in short pants and put them on a scale and see what they was. It's the same thing happened in Washington years ago.
Right.
So we're in the same situation. We're just trying to fool ourselves thinking that we're not. So I sit back and explain to you on a regular basis. When we talk about trillions of dollars, there's no way in the world that white America going to surrender this to black America, so black America can look good with the talents that they use, with the tools that they have, because they already can manipulate anything they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And if they put their hands on the right scale, what happens is they get championships, like the coach in Pittsburgh came in, got 2 championships. So you got to understand, being black is great. It's hard to be us, because we are against it. And everybody try to put their foot on our necks. Like the man Genghis Khan told him in China when he took it over. He said, I took your guys' foot off my neck. Now, if we happen to come together as a whole, we could take these people's foot off our necks, and we make them buy a couple football teams where we would be in the game. So we're talking about trillions of dollars. And at the end of the day, they're going to say that they're fair. But if they was fair, Dak Prescott would be getting $50 million.
Yeah.
So there's no fairness in the NFL. So when you write the book, please put it out so you can understand. There's no fairness in the NFL.
That was good. That's
Okay,
real.
I got you.
That's real.
I sure will. And I'm on the downhill slope of the story. Should be finished next month, maybe the beginning of April. But it's going to be eye-opening and it's going to be a conversation piece. And I already have Miss McCoy, Jamie McCoy, who is back east in Florida, and she's associate of Tyler Perry. They're interested in the story already as a movie. And Donnie over at Fox.
Donnie at Fox?
Yeah, he has he has a stake in the story because him and Hugh Jackson went to the same high school together, and he loves the story. And I told you, I think last week, I told you his true story is Boys in the Hood meets New Jack City meets Remember the Titans. If you put all three of those movies together, that's Hugh Jackson's true story. Without adding any type of lines or conversation, that's what his story is all about, and it's true.
Well, I'm gonna say this. You're gonna start laughing. You know, Hugh come around the corner from my house on 53rd, and as I think about all of them, I just smile and said, "Look at the opportunity that Hugh's got just for being black." Because Walsh and all of them picked him up, not knowing what they was gonna get out of him.
Right.
And he became a very great football coach for real. And if he was white, he would still be in the league as a head coach.
Exactly.
So Hugh Talon's really talk for himself. And sometimes we have these situations that they're not going to judge us on our color. They're going to judge us by what they think we're not supposed to do.
Right.
And we're not supposed to reach the top. We're supposed to stay at the bottom. So that's how this life goes. So John Boy.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yes.
I know I left you 100 years ago. And, you know, I left you and you guys were still on the streets. And when I came back home, you guys was locked away. And when I went back in, you wrote the rolling 80s. And I say, the rolling 80s. Boy, we've been through a whole lot together.
Yes.
We seen the same mud. We seen the same people.
Yep.
We seen the same wars. We seen the same polices.
Absolutely.
And here today, we talking about the challenge at hand.
Yes.
The challenge at hand is reaching back to the top. And when we reach to the top, everything's gonna be just fine. So John Boy, give me a little bit about what we went through this weekend to clarify that we understand that LA is one man, is a bunch of us who made everything great in the game.
Absolutely, sure. Thank you
What
again
about-
for inviting me. This Sunday we did get together along with you and some of the other kingpins from LA. Came together to tell their story for about an hour and a half each.
Yeah.
And we had 5 of the top drug dealers from LA to actually was able to spill their emotions and also to share their story like unlike anyone else ever done before. And I think I asked some great questions, you know, for people to go back and think and reminisce. You know, what were you like as a child?
I need some names, man. I need some names.
Not yet. Hold up. We at work right now. Hold up.
Yeah, but trust me, you know, while he was there, he knows I got some hitters. I got some more hitters this Sunday. And one of the things I want to go back and so I remember about several years ago when Freeway Rick, he was released and he and I got together. He called me to meet him to talk to some producers up in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there talking, and they were interested in this story. And Rick said, you know, John Boy got a story too. He said, when I was selling drugs, I didn't buy the Rolex watches and Ferraris and Mercedes-Benz and houses. You know, I was low key. And I'm telling the producer, I said, listen, I said, that's what people want to see if you're going to do a movie. I said, they heard about your story, Rick, about the CIA and Maxine Waters, and that's good. And I think if you ever did your movie, people would see it. I said, but you have to think about all the other drug dealers that were multi-millionaires that helped put LA on the map. it wasn't never one man or one woman. It was plenty of us, you know. And he agreed. And in his last documentary he did on the show with Netflix called Crack, he mentioned, he said, you know, there's many of my friends were millionaires too, you know. So he mentioned that, and I'm proud of him saying that, because that's the first time I think he made acknowledgement that there was others. But what we did Sunday was amazing. I can't wait for it to come together. Ice-T is involved, and you know, he been really working with me, which I appreciate as a friend. You know, when we did the 2 years ago, I did a Rolling Lady party.
Yeah.
You know, and I honor you and little Tommy. And Ice-T flew in, and he told everybody, listen, if it wasn't for John Boy, I wouldn't be here. I don't fucking do parties and shit like that, you know. So I appreciated him, you know, coming in to sponsor and host the party, and also get behind this project to take it and allow it the platform that we really need, so to be either a movie or a television series. You know, they talk about Snowfall, which is good, and Power is good, that's fine. But when we do this story, the real story with the real people, with the real money and real, you know, everything was real. Nothing is made up. We're not playing Hollywood.
And don't forget about the Jury Boys, though, the Diamond Boys.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I was at your party, and they just handed me the keys like I was a valet parker. You know what I'm saying? I can appreciate that. I didn't have no platform on the stage.
It's gonna be all right. Ira, it's gonna be all right.
You know, Ira, yeah.
It's gonna be all right,
Yeah,
Ira.
because when we tell the story, there are many stories. It wasn't just a drug story. There was a drug story, water story, the jewelry story, you know, bank robbers and jackers, and a whole lot of stories that took place in the 80s. Yeah. And we never told a story like this about the 80s in LA, and we were the hub. Everybody came to us about drugs, and we sold drugs to all the states, nationwide. We was it.
Yeah, we was it.
You set the
So, you know, hey,
Absolutely.
hey Ira, I don't know Rick. You know, let's just be blank. I don't know Rick. I don't know Cole. And I explained that to all of them on a regular basis. I don't know the dudes. I never been around the dudes. They never been around me.
Right.
I don't know Big U.
Right.
But I know Big U.
Right.
I know him as my little homeboy's nephew.
Right.
So that's the way I know Big U. He wasn't in the 80s. You know, he wasn't, I was only home for a brief moment in the 90s. So when I look at everybody and they start telling these stories just get blew out of proportion. But it's their story, and they have the right to tell these stories.
Right.
Because everybody is a storyteller. And when you have storytellers, people want to hear about the rolling 80s.
Right.
I come out the 70s, I'm a heroin boy. Moved up to a water boy, then moved up to a coke boy. And I think I did a damn good job. You know. And when I look at John Boy, we smile. I like John Boy. We never in our era got anything on consignment.
No.
We worked from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, I started with $300. My mom rent money. I started my rent money.
Yeah, you went outside. Came and bought the track.
Yeah,
Didn't look back.
Yeah, no, didn't look back.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit, because here we are talking about the rolling 80s. And last time you wrote a great book. And this time, when you putting this book together, you putting it on different facts. The content you done received over a couple of weeks is different content. And it's going to be talking about Black Dave, it's going to be talking about Harry O, it's going to be talking about Young Tommy, it's going to talk about Freeway Rick, it's going to talk about Bo Bennett, it's going to talk about Renee McGowan, it's going to talk about Dirt Red, it's going to talk about all these dudes that I know, Benzo Al, White Boy Lester, but there's a whole lot of people don't even know who these names is.
Correct.
Because I can sit back here and talk about them all day. I can talk about the boys in Pasadena, Ray and Al and all those other fellas.
Ray trying to buy my house.
Yeah, so you know, we could talk about the Black Cookies. We can talk about all these guys. We can talk about Black Tommies. You know, we talk about Tone Tone over there on the 104. We could talk about Cadillac Willie, the boss of all bosses in the Cadillac Willie. So we could talk about all of these dudes that other people have no idea who they are.
Absolutely.
So I'm sitting here and I try to bring it to everybody conscious that when you start talking about the 80s and you don't know these players, just move to the side. There's a little kid named Sam come off 105th and Butlong. He came off the east side and he did his job, and a whole lot of people didn't know who Sam was. It was Sammy and Kenny, and they did their job. They did a great job. And it was girls like Dean, Yaya, April, you know, Menzel.
Menzel, Pasadena. What?
Menzel got shot in the head. She got shot in the head because she didn't know how to lead.
Correct.
So
because they told her to leave. Yes. That's right. When she bought a Mercedes, she said, John Boy, I want some sheepskin like yours.
Yes.
So I took her to get put sheepskin in a Mercedes.
So here we are again. We talking about the dudes of the 80s. We talking about Daft. Daft is a player who was in his house selling crack, but he was selling seams of cocaine. A whole lot of people don't even know that.
He started with selling weed.
Yes.
I bought pounds of weed for him.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure was. Yeah.
So
he was the weed guy.
So when we start talking about these conversations, John Boy, we got to give the people of LA their props. Because there ain't one dude in LA was big enough to run LA.
No.
It's true, I was a big boy, and I had so many different wars. But the wars just was wars in the business at hand. But when I looked at the rest of the homies, I never said no to any one of them. I always gave them a helping hand. So when we sit back and look at it, we say, what's our next move? Our next move is for you to come up with another story so I can hear it, so I can tell it, so I can tell the rest of the people and stamp it like that's how the 80s went.
Oh, absolutely. And what I want to do, Whitey, to add to that, is that everyone that's sitting down with me to tell their true story, their truth, once we get picked up by a major studio, I'm going to sit down with everyone to write their story and put it in one book. It's going to be one book.
It can't fit.
But that's the key. We're going to do multiple books. We're going to do multiple books. But we're going to do the one book where everybody going to put a short story in there to tease them.
There you go.
And then the proceeds is going to be divided equally by everyone's story that's in that book. And those that's no longer with us, that have deceased, we're going to take their story and we're going to send their money to their kids and grandkids.
Do you see me smiling at you?
That's nice.
I didn't even say nothing about the roof. That's crazy.
What?
I didn't even say nothing about the roof.
What? Fuck, I sold in my Porsche.
Hey, I didn't say nothing about the roof, right? Man, I didn't say nothing about the Jazz.
That's my boy.
I ain't say nothing about David Child. I ain't say nothing. It's so many people that we could talk about.
Yes.
But I told my dudes like this. I didn't say nothing about my consulate, E.T. And everybody say, who is E.T.? I said, the greatest cook who ever brought it in the states of California. Him and Charlie Lloyd, the first ones who came out cooking rocks. These were these dudes. I didn't say nothing about Skippy. You know,
correct.
There's a whole lot of cats that I ain't said nothing about.
And Poochie.
You know, no, I ain't said nothing about them. But here we are, we know the real stories behind the stories.
Yes.
So sometimes people put themselves on the platform that they need to take themselves off of because they was not on center stage because they was on the porch in the 80s because they didn't come on these streets where we was because it was against the rules of playing the game that they had no power in. So this is the life that we live.
And while we remember that when I had my spot on Victoria in Hyde Park, you was one block around me by the liquor store, had the whole building. What? Am I telling the truth?
Yes, sir. That when it was popping,
what?
It was being served.
What?
The game was the game.
Enterprise, you had, at any given time, there were 10, 15 guys over there, you know, doing their drugs. It was just something else.
Okay.
I've got an indication that all those stories from the 80s are worth their weight in gold right now. And
just watch the tape.
Just have to watch the
Come
movie.
on.
Yeah. All these stories from the 80s are worth their weight in gold. Ms. Dixon, you're one, but there are so many people sitting on those stories. Just don't know how to get off of them. They know that it's coming around. Those times are hot now. I'm talking about the 80s. The stories from the 80s are the hottest thing going now. The retrospective,
right?
In the industry, the film industry, they're going back. They're going to go pre-pandemic, mask, everything, you know. And those stories are worth money. But there's a problem I ran into, is that those families and those relatives, they know those stories are worth some money, but they have no idea how to extract the money,
Right.
and they go the wrong route. They ask for money up front just to even talk to them.
Okay, now let me help you. I'm gonna help you. They don't know the stories. They only seen what was in the house. The people that you know, who know the stories, they never was around the other people. They can only tell your truth.
Right.
But it's like dudes like you who was around me, who was around John Boy. You can tell the other side of the other loop.
Right.
So you know the stories. The other ones only know that LaRue had $100,000 in the house. LaRue had this kind of car. But that's where it stops at. Because they never knew what LaRue did on Redondo.
Right.
Never know what LaRue did with Black Dave. And nobody never knew none of this. So here we are again. We come back and we ask, what is the next move? How can you tell a story that you know nothing about? So that's where they lost that. They only could talk about what someone else told them.
Correct, or what they heard.
Yeah, so here go John Boy. John Boy could talk a story out. And here goes Tiffany. He could talk about Whitney Houston. She could talk literally about Whitney Houston. That's why I have her on the stand with all us power hitters today.
Yes.
We are power brokers in this game of life. And we got an opportunity to put her on the spot so she could give us a little influx on Whitney Houston.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, which is good. I think it's great.
Because I feel like her legacy hasn't been represented properly, if I could say that.
Cool.
And it's coming from an unprecedented position for me as a creative director of hair and makeup, which hair and makeup usually doesn't get the props that they need. But if you didn't get me to do what you needed me to do for that to look like it looked on that film, then you do it, and we see how this film's turned out. We're gonna see how this work out. You understand? In other words, I'm an executive producer of what I do in this game as of hair and makeup and wardrobe and image consultant and all that. So I take it very seriously. So I demand to be respected just like the executive producers of any other thing. So this time around, I am going to be the executive producer of my project that I'm pushing through with the help of my friends, and just being able to tell a better story about her legacy, about the woman, who the woman was. And I think that's what people want to hear and want to see. And I have some beautiful stuff, untouched, beautiful, and I'm ready.
Okay, that's good. So Ira, I know you got something to tell me because I don't have that much time with you.
Okay, just by circumstance, your boy Fela Bob is on the phone with me right now.
Okay, tell Fela I said, what's up, baby? What's up?
And
get home, baby. Get home.
People in the audience that don't know who he, as Whitey. For people that don't know who Fela
Bob was.
Damn.
What's up, kid?
Hey, what's up?
Inglewood, California. I must say it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. We've been having so many things going on in the community, or we've been doing a whole lot of outreach, making sure that somebody got something to eat. And I don't have him in that camera, but that's the whole part. Slide over here to me, slide over here. Our life always gives us an opportunity to do a whole lot of different things for the community, and we try to keep up with the events of the day. So I am from the Green Believers and Whitey's Enterprise. We do play with social equity and we do technical assistance, and that's our main job. Our job is to make sure that the people who's in the weed industry will be able to receive their license when DCR open back up. So again, if you have not called me, you need to pick up your phone and give me a call right away, because we are in a race of time, and DCR is putting plans on opening the place back up. So again, I would always bring somebody on who is knowledgeable of the streets. And I'm a street dude myself. And I try to help the community in all ways. Some people don't even know how to take the first step into trying to apply for a weed license. A new door getting ready to open soon, where you guys are going to be able to register again and get to the portal. And when you get to the portal, you're going to have to be at a certain number. And last time they let us not go through correctly, because a whole lot of people was in Beverly Hills and Orange County and those other places, and they got there first. But you got to remember, when you try to get into something, you got to work 10 hours more than they work to succeed in anything. And that's me. I work 30 hours more than the person work in the week. That means I go to sleep at a different hour from you. And my team, they go to sleep from a different hour than you. Because we try to prepare ourselves to go forward and attack the world in so many other different ways. So again, here we are. We sitting here, we working hard, we just outworking people. And the weed industry is understanding they under attack by other elements. And those other elements is not letting them through the door at this moment. But this door about to open wide. And as we were talking to the people from Go Verdict the other day, they came down to Just Poppin', and they understood that Just Poppin' was not playing. Just Poppin' don't play no games. The boys from Whitey's Enterprise on the east side, we really deep into business. What we did in the past, that's what we did in the past. But what we do now is totally different. We set people up so they can run their own business. There's no such thing that you should lose. In what you do best, you should always have yourself in position to take those other steps. And when you take those other steps, you transfer yourself away from the street game into the business game. And the business game is much easier than the street game because you don't have to worry about the police or anybody telling on you. The only thing you're going to do is get a whole lot of people jealous of you because you're doing what's right. And you're trying to help your other brother achieve something that he wasn't capable of achieving because he didn't have the right people around him. So I would sit back and I talk about this every day to all my guys, like, to restructure your life, you got to restructure your world. Sometimes you got to look at the past and walk away from it. Because some people don't want to see you taking those necessary steps to be better. Not better than them, but better than you was yesterday. Because yesterday you made some mistakes and you living on it and you still laying on the cold ground, regretting everything you did. But from past experience, I would say this to you. Never worry about what happened yesterday because yesterday is the past. Readjust yourself. And if you have some bad people in your past that every time you went to climb up, they pulled you down, those is the people that you got to walk away from. And when you walk away from those people, that means you're readjusting yourself, your way of thinking. It's not bad at all. It's really the correct thing to do. And once you do those correct things, you'll be able to put yourself in a better position. And you must remember this. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you a part of that I do. You must look at yourself in the mirror every day as your worst enemy. And look at the table that you're playing on. And figure out what piece you got to remove off your chessboard. Because sometimes when you have pieces on your chessboard, those pawns can destroy you. So you need to get away from those pawns and get with those kings and queens and knights. And you move your pieces like that. And when you move them correctly, the reward's going to be high. They're going to be right. They're going to put you in a position where you can feed your family without the other people with those blue uniforms knocking on your door. So again, here we are talking about everything you want to know about cannabis and everything you want to know about life. So now we got topics that we got to talk about today. We got to talk about LA Chronicles. We got to talk about the Hugh Jackson story. We got to talk about Whitey's Enterprise, the Green Believers, Go Verdict. We got to talk about Henry Tillman. We got to talk about all these things, and then we got to come back and talk about Ira Tillman, the documentary he did on his cousin. So here we are again, experiencing life in a new lane, where we sitting back telling you it's a grand opening for Just Poppin'. It's a brand new hamburger stand that came out. They got the best tasting wings in town, best tasting hamburgers in town, turkey burgers, pastrami, French fries. We got everything is fresh for you to come to enjoy. It's 1030 East 25th Street. It's popping. It's just popping. And the food is delicious. You may see us right now popping up on Instagram, Facebook, and you see Just Poppin'. I know everybody saying, who is Just Poppin'? Just Poppin' is the East Side Kids. They're trying to bring something back to the neighborhood that they left a long time ago, where they was kidnapped and they got their lives forfeited. And when they came home, they figured it out. If they didn't want their life to be forfeited, they had to get in the legal business. And once you get in the legal business, you can do a whole lot of different things. You can go to re-entry and help the people who are coming home. You can go to the halfway house and have that conversation with the brothers in the halfway house. It's just so much to life to offer, because you have so many hidden talents that you own. You can write a book. You can do a screenplay. You got so many hidden talents. And as I talk about hidden talent, let me introduce you once again to Ira Tillman. How you doing, Ira?
Whitey, you were talking about Just Poppin'. I had Just Poppin' for breakfast because I bought a hamburger from you yesterday. I ate half of it last night, and I warmed it up right before I came to the show today. So I still have hamburger in the jaws of my cheeks right now. So it's a great burger, man. Great burger place. You're doing something that's surely needed in the area.
Yes.
You're hiring local employees, and and this is one of my new words, osmosis. You're affecting the environment you're in.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're both doing the same thing, because I have, of course, that project coming up. We have a television pilot that I was granted permission to develop. And of course, your company is the technical, audio-visual components of that, and good things are happening this year.
Yes.
For most of us. Now, some of us have taken a step backwards, and I'm just talking about a couple of the 40 Thieves from Super Thieves, my book. A couple of them have taken a step backwards this year, and can't let that old lifestyle go. I'm not going to mention any names, but it's still going on, and some of the detriment is still coming because of that type of stuff. But otherwise, 21 is giving us a fair shake.
Yes.
So far.
Yes.
You know, and you're presenting opportunities to the cannabis community to become their own bosses. You know, and man, all that positivity between me, you, and others who are in our old position and now have established a new position, it's miraculous how it's starting to look the future for everybody involved.
Yeah. You know, that's the great thing about us. When you sit back and you look at the past, and you take it and you put it on the table and you look at it and you examine it and you break it down and you understand what you did wrong and you understand how to correct it. And some of our guys, not being disrespectful, they are still in the terms of, I'm gonna live in the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
And they haven't really paid attention to the defeat that they've been suffering from the other people. So every day that we sit back, we try to make a new move, and we try to bring everybody in and let them see what's going on. And we don't hide anything. There's a whole lot of people that's hiding the truth. And the true value of success is giving it to the people raw, uncut, and it's being seen on Instagram, Facebook. So I would say this all the time, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. If you on OG status and you can't teach these young dudes what to do correctly to stay out of jail, you need to stop saying that you are OG. Because the OG really is standing for original thinker, not original gangster. Anybody could be gangster, but original thinker mean a lot to the community, where they could sit down and their parents could walk down the street and nobody put their hands on nobody in the neighborhood. This is what original thinkers do out the neighborhood. When they talk about in a gang is based on taking care of the older people and the younger people in the neighborhood. It's not based on a neighborhood going to really shoot at each other. It wasn't formed like that. It shouldn't be like that. It should be what it really truly for. It's for you guys to make sure that the older people is there to be protected and cared for, as they did us when we was little kids.
Yeah.
So you got to be original thinker instead of original gangster, because anybody can pick up a gun and pull the trigger. We look at law enforcement. They some guys who was more likely bullied when they was younger, and they get their hands on a gun, and now they want to be these tough guys, and they want to beat on whoever they can get their hands on because they ain't the right color. So we come back to original gangster and original thinker. A thinker is going to always think for his people and help them out and show them the right way. So I am an original thinker. I'm an original dude who made a lot of kings in LA. And I could say it, and I won't take it back. When they talk about Snowfall, they talk about the guy who designed all the rock houses in the rock game. And there's a few of us who designed these games before any of these other people even came in existence. These games was designed. And today we trying to tell them, you have put yourself on this pedestal. We need you to be an original thinker now. And we need you to help these young dudes, since they look up to you guys, to help them and show them the way how not to give their content. I will say this again. Do not give you guys content to other people to control your destiny. It's not cool for you guys to run and give you guys content to other people and don't get any money for it. It's not cool, brothers. Get you some brothers. There's a whole lot of black brothers who got cameras and who can make your content for you. And when they make your content for you, then you can go sit back and you can go lease your content out to Amazon, Netflix, and all these other people. The stories must be told. But I ask you, brothers, you big boys who say you guys are original gangsters, I ask you guys, do not let them manipulate you guys and let them give you an idea that you came from 1978 and to 1985 when you wasn't young enough to be in that frame. Mm-hmm. So I'm asking you brothers to really open your eyes. I understand you heard all the stories that we talked about. I understand that a whole lot of dudes who were smoking sat on the porch and told you all these great stories on how the Shakers and Movers was doing. But I asked you, if you're going to get these stories out, take it to somebody black and let them film the content. And then have that conversation. And you could tell them in the right manner Like, this is a story that I heard. I was not a part of it, but I heard it, and it's a great story. So this what original thinkers do. They think of a way to take advantage of the stories that they have and do not give them to the other people. So now, let's go back to this topic that we wanted to talk about today. You know, Kaepernick, he's a football player. He made the movement. Yes, we're going to say it. He is the movement of the NFL. He is the movement of the community push. He is the face that stood there on the sideline on one knee. And he said, no more. I'm with my people. I'm tired of people doing things to my people. Every time I turn around, you guys putting a gun to one of their heads and pulling the trigger. This is a person that me and my counterpart is talking about. And we looking at everything what's going on. And we saying, why him? Why not give him the opportunity? But I'm not going to relate this story because this is a story that is like Hugh Jackson. Why is he not an NFL coach? Because he earned it. Why do he got to be knocked down? Because somebody said he ain't smart enough and they know he's overqualified. Why is it that every time we turn around we talk about Hugh Jackson or any black coach, they get 2 years and then they get kicked out the door? Why are we in this conversation with Gruden and all of them getting 10 years opportunities with $100 million or $100 million, $200 million, and 10% ownership of a football team? Why is they so special where they can look at a black man and tell a black man, we're going to give you a 4-year contract, but we're going to spend it at 2? How could this be possible in America where we live? How is it possible that Tebow can be gone for 100 years? And they say, oh yeah, because Tebow get on his knees and pray to God different from how Kaepernick pray to God that he cannot have a football contract. I'm going to let Ira tell you a little bit more about this.
Yeah, well, Hugh Jackson's story is what brought me full bore head on to the Kaepernick situation. Of course, they tried to use Hugh Jackson as a conduit for Kaepernick to get back into the league. And Roger Goodell, and I've got to extend him some props for his effort. Now he works with the owners, but he doesn't work for the owners. But he tried to go against the ownership by giving Hugh Jackson a chance to present Colin Kaepernick on that day of that workout, and it fell apart at the end, and everybody knows why, because Kaepernick changed the venue at the last minute. But the deal is this: coaches in the NFL, and I wrote about this in my book, the Hugh Jackson story. It's called "The Kid Can Coach." It'll be out the beginning of June. It's in publication right now. Coaches in the NFL, and a lot of people don't know this, do not have a union. They will not allow the coaches to have a union. And players have a union, referees have a union, different entities involved with the production of a football game, they all have unions, electrical workers, everybody. The only people that don't have a union are coaches. And the reason behind that is because it goes back to racism, and it goes back 100 years to the beginning of this league. But essentially, if you unionize the coaches, that means you're unionizing a lot of blacks that would have say-so in how the daily business occurs. So in order to eliminate that as a possibility, they just deunionize the entire employment process of being a coach. There's no unions. And if you talk, even if you talk about a union, you'll be blackballed from the league by the ownership. You can't even talk about it. Players, you can't do that to, because you need them. You need their bodies, you need their physicality, you need their employment to present your product. Coaches, you can find coaches. You can find them at the next level, college. You can even reach down to high school. There's always a coach willing to step on another coach's carcass to move up. It's a dog-eat-dog profession.
Yes.
That's why they'll never have a coaches union, because once you unionize, then you have to give them certain things like guaranteed employment or guaranteed reparations after they leave your employment, as in a pension and social security, some type of financial security after they've been with you so long. That's why they're able to do the things that they do to Hugh Jackson and Kaepernick and anybody else that even whispers something about unionizing the coaching profession.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
See, so basically, let me collect my thoughts on this so I can say it right. When you become a coach, you become an administrator.
Yeah.
And that's how they look at their coaches in the league. Like, you're an administrator, you're not a player. Your value is as a supervisor. So we're gonna make sure that you only have supervision, so you can never form a union, because if you form a union, we can't tell you things to do, because it'll be a block there that stops us. So it was a wise move they made,
Right.
to make them administrators instead of the unionized. And that's just the way of life. And sometimes you got to be punished for that, for you being so special. And they need that tool that you have as a good coach, a good brain. And when those brains come along, it's hard to find them, but they are so racist that when they see a black brain that can really run a company, they don't want a black man to run their company for real.
They feel threatened.
Yeah, because now the face has changed.
They feel threatened. They've had player strikes. Remember when they had scab football players?
Yeah.
They've had referee strikes.
Yes.
Remember they had the scab referees. They're not going to have a coaching strike
No,
because they'll never unionize them.
Yeah, because you know they pay coaches so much.
And they try to make coaches feel like they're part of the group. You know, when they hire a coach, he's part of our gang. You know, he's part of administration. He's part of the ownership process, the managerial process. He's an entity of us, and we can just cut that entity off. That's why we fire him.
Yeah.
That's why they fire him. So I don't see how they can remedy that unless the federal government stepped in and made it mandatory, because you can be employed for 13, 14 years, and then once you get fired from one, you may not get hired again. Now all you're fit to do is coach football.
Yeah, that's
And you have no guarantees.
no, life ain't guaranteed. No, life ain't guaranteed. But again, you know, we from the Green Believers. We believe in social equity. And I'm talking about social equity, there's no guarantees. The governor said that social equity was going to be for the brown and black people of Los Angeles. He forfeited that. He decided that social equity was going to be for anyone who got in there first. And what happened? The brown and black people, they got shut out. And when we talk about the Green Believers, we talk about everything about cannabis and everything about the community. Because if you're not real with yourself, you're not being real with no one. And the Green Believers is a team. And we is very real with each other. And we try to make sure that when we have a conversation around the board with everybody, they get a full grasp of what we're talking about. And when we give them a full grasp, is telling them, like, if you don't do your job, you're not going to get your license. And then when people call themselves like going through a shortcut and say, oh, I'm going to get them over here, and then they find out they got to give out 58% of their license to somebody who don't look like them, who don't talk like them, and when you look in the mirror, ain't no resemblance to them. So we in a situation that the brothers and sisters got to open their mind and open their heart to each other and help each other get you guys money so you guys can have you guys license. Because it's going to be, say, $13,000, $14,000 for your application when DHO open up. And if you're not there and ready to do what you got to do, they're going to pass over you. and you're not going to get no license. So you guys need it right now in this pandemic, whatever you guys doing to succeed in life, and you're going to build a building block for the industry, you need to start now and get to work. Because when you get to work, you don't have to try to get ready, because you can already be ready. And this is how we are in the Green Believers. Now, when we talk about Whitey's Enterprise, we talk about a whole different machine. This machine that we working with is so outrageous because they got so much energy, because the city and the state forfeited our lives and put us away. So now, this team that we done put together from different walks of life, we are here attacking. And every time an opportunity opens, we don't try to creep through the door, we just rush through the door. And we try to get what we can out of everybody on our team. We got writers on our team. We got production managers on our team. We got different team members. We got a team that they make their own websites. So in a moment in time, it's like Just Poppin' need a website. And we walked in the house, then walked in the store, and the guy said, "Give me your computer." I got to set up Just Poppin'. So now you can find Just Poppin' at justpoppin.net. It's Just Poppin'. It's a hamburger stand. It's everything that everybody want to do in business. And this is what we do every day. We set businesses up. We are a consultant business, and we consult all the black brothers in the neighborhood. So if you need some information about where you're going, we can help you find a way for you to be successful in this game that we are in. So always remember, this is the time, it's right, and we're here to help you do what's necessary for you to succeed. Because if you don't succeed, we don't succeed. And there's no way in the world that we're gonna not help you to succeed in life. So again, everything that Ira's saying is correct. Ira is here for one purpose only, to notify everyone that the kid who can coach is coaching again. He at Tennessee State, he's coaching again. He an offensive coordinator. There's nothing gonna really hold you back but yourself, because you're gonna put yourself in the right position to go forward. So Ira will tell you a little bit more about how Mr. Jackson is doing.
Yeah, you landed on his feet just like a cat, and you know, how do you go from being coach of the year, you're the offensive coordinator or offensive coach of the year, to not having a job, period? You know, that's almost impossible.
It's really impossible.
Yeah. So yeah, he landed on his feet with Eddie George down there in Tennessee State, and I believe that's going to be a bridge back to major college and professional coaching for him. And the book is coming out, and you'll see the pathway that it took for him to get to where he's at now. And I have some interest from movie studios about a production of Hugh Jackson's life. And don't want to get ahead of the horse, but it's a story that's very appreciable, and it's made really for television. His story is like I told the studio, it's Boys in the Hood meets New Jack City meets Remember the Titans. You put all three of those movies together, that's Hugh Jackson's real story. And I can't wait for the reviews to start coming in after the book is in circulation. And waiting for these studios in the South, people that are connected to Tyler Perry, they really like his story, and even Fox loves the scenario. Nobody's read it yet. I'm the only one who's read it because I wrote it, but nobody's read it yet. And but I can't wait for the reviews to start coming in. But it's finished, and we're publishing it right now.
My dudes told me like this. They said, "This is what we do."
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, this is what we do. You see what Ira's doing? This is what we do."
Yeah.
And he done put a bombshell out. It's a can't miss, a can't read. It's that thing that say, "Ooh, he came from South Central LA." on 52nd. That's crazy.
The only head coach to ever come out of South Central Los Angeles and greater Los Angeles area. Hugh Jackson is a very unique story, and he circumvented certain pathways that you normally would take to ascend to that level, and he was able to bypass some of the hoops and hurdles you usually have to jump to get to that level. But it's an amazing story. I was exhausted. Believe me, I've been finished for about 2 weeks now, and it's feels like 1,000-pound gorillas off my back. I'm sleeping abnormally because I don't have that project over my head anymore, and been working and thinking about something else that you brought up the other day as a possible project. You have in your new hamburger stand in your restaurant, you have some hamburgers and sandwiches that are named after some reputable, streetwise and well-known characters. And I was thinking, they do have a mafioso museum in Vegas.
Yes.
They do need an international ballers museum, because there's so many personalities. We're talking internationally and across the United States, New York, Louisiana. We can come up with a museum that would mirror at least that the American Mafia Museum. We can come up with a museum that would be really, people would line up to go through it and pay to see what it's in there, and the exhibits. Something I've been thinking about, and me and you are going to continue to talk about. I like to have it based right here in Los Angeles.
Hey, listen to this. He talking about just popping. And we talking about just popping. When we talk about just popping is just not a word. It's the way of life of some gangsters. And when I woke them up in that era, we was all on the porch just studying each other, playing football, playing baseball, because LA was that. It was the mecca of sports. And that's all we did. And we was sitting on the porch hungry for a whole lot of years. And we seen all the older guys, they was getting some money. And we just woke up. And when I led the charge, because the old guys taught me so much, and I said, wow, I got to share this game. You know, it's game. You got to share, and you got to want to share it. And when I started sharing it, it was a whole lot of kings made. So when they talk about snowfall, I told the dude, I said, listen, just popping. It's gonna show you the pictures of the history of South Central LA, from the east side to the west side. And it's gonna be on the wall of Just Poppin'. So when you walk in Just Poppin', you're just not walking to a hamburger stand, you walk into a history lesson. You walk into the history lesson of life, the history lesson of getting money, a whole lot of money. And none of these guys I'm gonna put on the wall ever took nothing on credit. All of them just bust their ass. They ran in jewelry stores, they ran in banks, they did all the things what they needed to do. They was pickpockets on buses. They was just, it's this game on top of game on top of game. They was cooking water. Oh, they had a heroin sack. But all at the end of the day, the whole new generation that came up behind us, they was selling cocaine. And they was like, what's going on? The blueprint is here. Can we follow that blueprint and succeed? And I looked at all of them and said, ain't nobody big enough to run LA. So enjoy it, ride baby, do what you got to do. So today, with no further ado, I got another player in our house. His name is Trone. I'll give you a little background on him. He's Ice-T's manager. Ice-T comes from where we come from. He did what we did. He played in the same league. But he stepped out and he did something special. He became a movie star. And Trone was his leader. And he led Ice-T down the road where they had a band. And they stayed in what they did. They stayed in the loop of life. They didn't destroy each other. They kept each other. They loved each other. And today, they still in the same place, loving each other, taking care of each other. Let me introduce you to Trone.
All right. Good to see you, Whitey.
All right. It's an honor.
Yes, sir. Am I good? Yeah, man. In 82, September of 82, and I wasn't able to get back until the end of 85. September of '85. So yeah, it's you know, a long road, man. You know, the accomplishments that Ice has made. You know, I'm not his business manager, but I'm his tour manager and road manager, and been around the world with it. But you know, we started a rock band back in '91 called Body Count. There was a lot of controversy because he had made a song called Cop Killer, and they were very angry at him. I mean, you had Charleston Heston and, you know, Warner Brothers was saying they were going to back him up. It was the, you know, freedom of speech, you know, First Amendment that they were going to stick by him. And, you know, called him in and basically, you know, showed him a big pizza and told him, you know, see that olive right there? Do you think we're going to fold this pizza, or we're going to pick this little piece of olive up out of there and throw it to the side? And that's basically what they did. But they did let him walk away with his masters, his publishing. And he went from there to Priority, and Priority put out his next album in '92, which was called Home Invasion, and had a song on there that Jay-Z redid, was called 99 Problems and a Bitch Ain't One. But everybody kind of thought that was Jay-Z, but Ice did that in '92. And, you know, he was successful in, you know, getting out of the game, you know, from doing what we were doing, robbing jewelry stores and hustling, you know, trying to get it, you know. So yeah, but it's an honor and a privilege to always be able to see my guy, you know. It was unfortunate when I came home, he had ended up falling and, you know, got himself back though, man. And that was just the great thing, man, you know, to know that they wasn't gonna stop him from coming home, you know, let our people go. You know, song Wyman's got, let our people go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just a little history of, you know, we go way, 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 way back, you know. And
I'm waiting on the book, man. I mean, you got stories up in you and you just ain't letting them out, huh?
Man,
I want to hear about the road. And,
yeah, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. And you know, I just want to clarify, you know, my name is Patron. They call me Tron, but Patron is my real handle, and I had the name before the liquor. And if you break it into 2 syllables, Patron, the liquor, is Pat Ron. Mine's is Pat Rome. Which one's closest to Patron?
Yeah. Hey, tell them the history, baby. Tell them the history. Hey, I tell you like this. This show right here will always bring history on it. And this is what we do every day of our lives. We sit back and remember all the challenges we had when we was young. And we got past a whole lot of things that other people have no idea how to do. And they sit back now, they just sit on the cold ground and surrender. And then they look at us like, how you guys still carrying on? And we say, hey, when we came off the porch, we was hungry. And today, we still hungry.
It doesn't go away.
It don't go away. The hunger pains don't go away.
So when I look at Ira, he come in just popping to buy a burger. I said, you still hungry, huh? He's like, yeah, I'm still hungry. We on our way down to San Diego.
Right.
Yeah, he said, we on our way down to San Diego to do this other pilot. So by saying that, when I said that, when we came off the porch, we took an oath with each other. And we was true to the game. We never told on each other. We always stayed real. And as one fell, we was there to try to catch him and pick him up and dust him off and show him the route. And every day when I sit back, I look at my dudes, and I'm very impressed because they never surrender to the people who want them to surrender to. So here we are, we're looking at 2 great guys on the side of me. They never surrendered, they stayed on the grind. And now, here go my man Ira. He on the grind so hard. And every day he say, Whitey, I didn't get to bed at 7. I said, what? He said, if you're not on the typewriter all night, you're not grinding. It's like when you set up a jury leg, you're grinding, you thinking, because you don't want to get caught. So he don't want to get caught sleeping because his stories is so big. So he's gonna tell you a little bit more about this other pilot that we're getting ready to attack. So we grinding, bro.
It's an amazing story. I stumbled upon it 2 years ago. Friend of mine who owns a nightclub out here in Los Angeles, his brother killed a young lady trying to kill his baby mama. He missed her, he shot her sister, and he was looking at the death penalty. Well, when you're, and this is all new to me, this information, when it came to me like this, when you are up for the death penalty, they send an investigator out to interview you. And they interviewed him, and he gave them a list of people to contact that will shed some positive light on his past existence, because they have to present that to the jury. And my name was one of the names that he put on the list, and this lady, Miss Teresa Diamond, she came to visit with me and gave me a 2-hour interview. All her interviewees, she gives them at least 2 hours. That's the least time that she'll spend with somebody. Sometimes it's 4 hours. And she sat with me for 2 hours, and she was so interesting. I'm talking about her when she told me about her processes and her investigative techniques. It was nobody. I've never met anybody that's done this job or even heard of this job. I didn't even know it was a thing. And she dog eat dogs with the district attorneys. She has to battle their investigators and come up with the positive on this possible death penalty verdict, and while they're coming up with the negatives. And I wrote her name down this a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, and I just thought of it. I told her, I said, you have an interesting book. She said, I got 30 years of death penalty cases at home. And I said, okay. I kept that in my mind, and talking to one of the Tyler Perry producers, Jamie McCoy, and I pitched it to her 2 years later. I said, I know a person, and this is what she does. And she says, we want that. We want that as a television show. So that's what I'm out here doing. We're going down to San Diego, and we're going to start the filming and documentary process of this woman, and she welcomes it. She has a lifestyle that's never been produced or seen in a television or movie form. Nobody's ever played this type of character, has done this type of job. Nobody even knew this thing existed.
Okay.
Until I met her.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I tell you this much. Everybody be on my man Patron. I said, what about him? I said, you know, a person, a friend of mine. But as soon as I came out the penitentiary, I went down to Vegas to get married again. And I'm like, Tron, he's like, I'm there. You know. I said, where Ice? He said he can't make it, but I'm there. And you know, we come from the same block. You know, we did the same thing. And a whole lot of people sometimes they be telling me false stories that they came from where we came from, and they walked the turf and they had fights, and we never seen them a day in our life. You know, and today, you know, we cleared a whole lot of things up, and we keep moving. But Tron like been doing so much, and he been trying to build himself and build his team and take care of his family, because family is everything. It's the most important thing in life. And when we look at each other, that's the first thing coming out of our mouth. How's family doing? And he like, family good. That's good. So every time he come down here, I'm making my business, trying to pick up the phone, get in contact with him. And now he's here. I've been waiting to get him on this podcast for a minute. So here go Tron one more time. You tell me a little bit more, Tron.
You know, I'm just like, really, like I said, excited, and then, you know, privileged and honored to be up and around my brother. But, you know, we and him talked. I was at Just Poppin' yesterday when he got me something to eat. You know, food is, man, delicious. But we were just talking about the past, and speaking on some of the guys that were around back in those days that were really getting it, and I was talking about John Boy, and he had a club called Casanovas in the marina, where a lot of people attended. He had the piano, the grand piano, and it was spectacular, man. It was something that doesn't even exist today, where we have a club that blacks can go to in the marina, and and I was telling Whitey how everything intertwines, like, John Boy was getting it, Young Tommy was getting it, Bruce, Ice made a song, he put in the lyrics, Bruce is a giant, Nat C's clocking dough, bebop's a pimp, and my old freak's a hoe. He was talking about Bruce Richardson, who we call Genius, rest in peace. But at the end of the day, the story is, if Whitey tells his story and John Boy tells his story, it's like almost like Power, with the Power Book 2, Power Book 3, Power Book 4. It's that dramatic, that it was really happening. Like, they portray someone had a club. John Boy had a club, like really did have a club, and really called Casanovas in the marina. And I'm talking about, ball players, Magic, a lot of folks, celebrities was attending this club. And to this day, we don't own anything or have a club that we can go to in the marina, and we got folks that's got millions, Magic's a billionaire. He ain't got a club, and not that he wants one, but still, it's not nowhere where we can go, to reminisce or bring back the old times. But when he tells this story, and I'm looking forward to it, and it's gonna be huge, man. It's gonna be big because it can be fact checked, and it can be, it's almost like they took Power and stole, stole some of what LA was about, even though they saying it was in New York. I don't know if it was even going down like that. It's not based on a true story. But yeah, man, I had to come and get with you. It's a privilege to come to the podcast. We won a little Grammy with this year, 2020, for the best metal performance. And that's the first time in Grammy's history that a black rock band has won best metal performance. So, we're looking to capitalize on that. We've been out with some of the biggest and the best when they was on top. Guns N' Roses, Metallica, we opened for them, stadiums, so.
You ever run into Fishbone?
Yeah, we done been out there with Fishbone, we done been out there, you name it, we done been there.
True story. I took that group to their first talent show. They were out of Dorsey High School.
Okay.
I took them to their first talent show because I had a Pinto station wagon that could fit some instruments. And they asked, Kendall Jones is like my baby brother, little nephew. He's the leader of Fishbone. But he asked me, Ira, we got to get to Dorsey for this talent show. This is in, I can't remember that, 80? When I had that Pinto wagon, I took them to that talent show, and they won it. Yeah. They actually won it that year. But they... I left and started balling, and next thing I know, they're on Soul Train. I said, hold up, that's the group I took to Dorsey.
Hey, that's the great thing about Los Angeles. And I'm gonna piggyback on what he just said. John Boy is a character that I've been doing for a long time. Black Tommy character I've been doing.
Yeah.
These characters, Little Tommy, and then they got Ice Cream Man. And then you got Renee McGowan.
Yeah.
Then you got Young Wizard. You got Big Wizard. You got Black DJ. Day. You got Black Day. You got LaRue. You got Skippy. We got all of these people that we talk about. We got Doocy. Then we got the boys off the bottoms. Frog, Larry, and then you go to Compton, you get Richie Rich, you get what's the other boy name? The Johnson kid, and you get Moon, you get Moses, you get all of these people, and then everybody asks the same question: who had the most money? But the problem is that Daryl, Face, all these cats, you couldn't count their money because they had too much money. You know, and then you got Brian Brim, then you got Clyde, you got the boys off 103rd and Compton, then you got the boys out the Nicholson, you got the boys out of Jordan down in the Imperial Court. All these characters talk about Los Angeles. They say Watts, Compton, but when you add it all up and you put it on the table, on your chessboard, it say Los Angeles. All these fly dudes and everybody got a certain story that they could tell. And then you go to the Peblos and you talk about the Termites, you talk about the Dons, you talk about the Jessies, you talk about Xavier, you talk about all these other people, and all of them is like us, black, billionaires. And everybody say, man, what you mean? I say, LA is so big, it has so much money, that when you talk about when the Colombians came, you guys in the 80s, the later 80s, this worked for some Colombians, but these dudes from the 70s to the 85s, the 86, they have their own paper. So we could sit here and have this discussion, and you could talk about John Boy opening his great club, and the whole thing gonna come back, I'm saying on notice. He paid for it out of his own pocket, and he never owed another person a dime for it.
Right.
We talking about Cadillac Willie. We talking about all these boys, and man, all I can do is say, man, I was blessed to be able to walk on the same field with these players, and like Ice and like Irvin and everybody else, like Trone, like Ira. We walked together, we talked together, we did the same things together, and now we're older and we're doing other things together, and we being successful at what we do. So I'm going to give my people a couple minutes because I got to close this out. So, Jerome, you close out on what you think.
Yeah, I want to close out with, just like you just mentioned, the collectively, all of them getting money was a billion. Like John Boy said it. He said, man, if you would have had all of these cats together, it was a billion. It was a billion easy. Because this cat had multi-millions, he had multi-millions, he had multi-millions, and it added up with all of these individuals. Renee McGowan, you know, what's the I always call the fat kid.
Who, Dobie?
No,
Little Tommy.
No, Little Tommy, Santa Mae. Yeah, Santa Mae. You know, when I come home, you know. And it was just amazing, man, to see, you know what I'm saying? And these are just cats that, the individuals that you run, cats that you didn't even know were sitting on, you know what I'm saying? $500,000, $2 million, you know? That's what it was, but collectively, it was all together. It was a $1 billion. If they had came together and made a corporation, it would have been a $1 billion corporation. Easy.
Ira?
Well, just like I said, I just got a 1,000-pound gorilla off my back with the Hugh Jackson story, and I have another project in the works. Real quick, it's I got a grandson named Hunter, and I got another grandson named Manning, like Peyton Manning. So I created a detective out of Atlanta. His name is Hunter Manning, and he's a manhunter. That's what he does. He hunts serial killers.
All right. Okay.
That's my next book.
All right. Well, I got to get out of here. It's been fun. It's been an honor. I think.
Yes, sir.
I think Ira.
All right.
I think Jerome.
Yes, sir.
It's my honor to have you here,
Man,
and I'm going to have you
my
again.
pleasure. Yes, please.
And
do.
LA, wake up. LA Chronicles is on its way. Whitey's Enterprise, Ira Tillman, Trone, they got something special going on. Everybody wake up and stay in the game. We signing off. Take care.
Peace.